There we go. It literally cut back to Psyduck right on the camera. That was so. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Sword Art Online is what made me choose my career path.
Oh, really?
It was what helped me, like, pushed me towards game development.
Kaiju number 8, literally, like, when it came out, I was reading that, and it had me hooked from like minute one. I love Kafka. I love his grit, his determination to kind of just keep pushing forward, even when other people tell him no. And like, you get into this business, right, as a fan, and it kind of helps and hinders you in some ways. It's just, you start to think like, man, like, gosh, it would be so cool to get to be in that one day, you know? And then, Crunchyroll got Kaiju number 8, and I was just like, I auditioned for it. It's one of those things is like you psych yourself out because you want it too much, and that's the balance, right?
Enjoy sports anime. Everyone has their own genres and what have you. And so if it's not what you jive with, that's totally fine. But if you really want to get going, you got to get on Kuroko no Basket, all right? That's undisputed. Okay, look, you can have an opinion, but it can be the wrong opinion.
Okay.
Okay?
Professor Oak
Bro.
versus
You're like, who's the biggest square I could find?
Uncle Iroh.
Thank you. How are you?
Good, good. So, do you watch anime?
No, I only watch One Piece.
Oh, fuck. Well,
A little balloon animal. Sometimes these little trinkets aren't anything to do with One Piece. People just like giving me little things.
I love it.
It's really nice and sweet, and it kind of freaks me out a little bit, but it's also fun.
Something that just turns your brain completely off.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to watch Anohana and then offset it with something really stupid like Aho Girl. I don't know if you know that show.
We dub anime and it's very quick, but we try to give it the life it deserves. And it's so fun. It's very fun being able to portray these characters. And even though it's hard to be vulnerable, I think a lot of actors may struggle opening up in that kind of way.
I go in there and I was like, hey, it's funny. I walked into the session. I was like, hey, everybody. It was Mike and August Klein, the engineer. Well, I love you, August. I walked in and I was like, hey, everybody. It's like, I'm here to kill the symbol of hope today.
Like, I think I started like fully like watching like Soul Eater.
Okay.
Because I really loved like Halloween themes, and then I saw like an AMV of Soul Eater on like a Marilyn Manson "This Is Halloween," and I was like, I'm sold.
Okay.
Also, FYI, if you're out there and you're listening to this podcast and you cosplay a really good like Grandpa Jojo, call me.
Berserk, Vagabond, Vinland Saga.
Yeah.
Haven't read Vagabond. I've read a little bit of Vinland Saga. I love the story, and every gym goer has read Berserk in a way. It's just like that's totally me.
Oh my god,
Griffith.
No, if they do riot, I'll be really terrified because you don't know what type of stand they got under Arsenal. Like for all I care, like I would be walking to the grocery store, and I walk out, they pull up.
Maintains this like pure beautiful soul throughout. Like she doesn't become super jaded, but she also like develops her own agency, which like as a young woman, like that can be hard.
Throw a little snippet of Sir Night Eye comes in, arms around them. It's like, yes, I do see them, Mirio, and I just broke when I played that scene. I was dying.
This is where I'm going to like announce to the world and everybody, all my friends, that I'm a fake, and I've never watched the whole series. I've only watched part of Crystal and like Moon staring at me from the couch, and I've only ever watched it in English.
Don't have the same expectations of shoujo and josei that they like think of, but Kimi ni Todoke is always going to be another like banger series to recommend. If you want an action shoujo, Queen's Quality is amazing. I feel like Queen's Quality is really like the shoujo series for people who only like battle action manga.
Also, there is no way in hell that Pegasus is 19. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
That is a 40-year-old man, and I will die on that hill.
You know, like the little message at the end that was like for anybody who, who had their like chest clam up. I was like, oh my God, this is so good.
Yeah.
Especially since not a lot of people know this about me, but like I get, especially talking to new people and stuff, I get really, really nervous. And there was one of my biggest regrets in life is that I spent 5 years trying to get into this industry, but I never really talked to anybody about it because I was so nervous about, disappointment and stuff like that. And I looked up to all of these people. So like, yeah, I never really talked to anybody about it.
I'm so excited to see my boys animated. And my
Oh,
girls.
yeah.
But like Kifri and El Rugio,
They're gonna break the internet.
Written adults who are like basically like adoptive
Dads.
fathers to these children.
Straight up.
So good. It's so good.
You throw one punch and there's 5 minutes of memories of like how we met the first time. First, like every time we met or why we became enemies. I'm like, yo, you don't need this between every single attack.
The best scene that everyone loves is when she's walking into the classroom and just debris flying everywhere.
Yeah.
That had me cracking up, especially when the students are like, yay, like, we love you.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where you do it and then it's out there. You maybe see it or maybe not. And then, you know, so you don't really know much beyond that. But when you get to interact with people and be like, oh, cool, this actually made its way out there, and you get to meet other people associated with it. I think it kind of adds more perspective to it. Cause it's also interesting. Like, I feel like voiceover, at least for dubbing, I feel like it's probably, it's a unique medium in the sense that you can be incredibly prolific within a very short amount of time.
And I was like, okay, we'll see what animes click. And it wasn't until I actually sat down and watched Seven Deadly Sins, which I know is not everybody's favorite anime.
I won't lie to you. I will tell you the exact situation I was in. I was on the toilet.
Oh, good.
And I was just sitting there. And I was like, you know, as you do.
Yeah.
And I'm just on my phone, and I just get the casting, and I went. I saw Kaiju number 8 and I went, I just like hopped out of my seat.
I'm going to be honest. I watched one episode and I was like, what is going on?
That is one of the most underrated animes of all time.
Yeah.
When people ask me that, and like ask me when I go say you gotta watch GTO, aka Great Teacher Onizuka.
Yeah.
Everyone from who's never watched anime to people who are hardcore animes like you and I.
Yeah.
We're like watching it. It's like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah. I get attached and I'm like, they kill it off and like, it hurts and it's okay and I will survive it.
Yeah.
I will always, and sometimes it's good. That's why a lot of time I leave endings because I don't want it to end.
I got one film on my list to watch that you've mentioned numerous times. Your Name.
Oh, I was literally about to say.
I figured that was one of them.
So I've invested so much.
That is true. That's also like, this would be my perfect example, except way worse choice. The Human Centipede series. In the sense of years ago, I was still in college, and one of my friends, like every Halloween, I was watching Halloween spooky movies. One of my friends recommended, it's like, oh, you should watch The Human Centipede. It was really creepy. I'm like, okay, watched it like late at night. It was okay, sure, weird. And then I saw on Netflix that there was a number 2. And I was like, well, I'm already here. Might as well watch number 2. Worst choice in my life.
I called myself the biggest idiot in the room once.
See, so you're lucky I wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then that would have been not a factual
exactly.
statement.
That wouldn't have been.
Every now and then I like watch stuff. I'm like, huh. It's definitely not as good as I remember. It's half of it's nostalgia.
Before I was born.
Not far.
But
Hurts
before
my
I was
soul.
born.
I was gonna ask your opinion on it.
Academy. People turn into weapons. They're your best friend, and they turn into a weapon. You fight bad guys, collect souls, turn weapon best friend into death weapon.
Oh. Oh my god.
That was like
Perfect.
caveman speech.
Yeah. Perfect. 10 out of 10.
Hey, who knows? 20 years from now, maybe we'll get another reboot that will be done better.
Maybe. Who knows?
I didn't even think that we were gonna get a reboot.
Yeah.
Part of me wishes that we didn't.
Oh!
Just by that ending.
Oh my god.
And I sat there and I looked at this email and I was like, and he's like, what? I was like, because I can't really say anything because it's under NDA.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had talked about this audition like an hour previous. So I was like, hey, remember that audition I was talking about that I had a lot of fun with? And I'm like, I'm freaking out. I was like, hey, because it was my second lead in a row. I had done Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence right before that. That was my first lead in an anime. And so to have 2 in a row, I was like, what? Are you sure?
I don't want to say just whiny Deku is, but it just felt like he always would just
keep going.
Cry. Also, I don't like how, again, he just got his powers, but like, cool, he did the hero thing. He's dead. Half his bones are busted. Neat.
Well,
not really.
My sweet summer child.
Until I went to Seattle for like vacation once, and I
Yeah.
went to their Kinokuniya, and I looked and I saw just that, and I was like, "What is that?" I was like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And I spent that entire night binging that manga, and I didn't
Mhm.
read the last 2 chapters of it because I was like, I can't.
I don't
was like,
wanna- I don't want it to
I can't
end.
finish. I don't want it to end. I can't
Yeah.
finish it. And I just finished it earlier this year. I
Mhm.
reread it.
There was an episode because I was having a watch party with friends. There was
Yeah.
an episode that came, and then the ending, we all were like, "No, what?" We all were like, "What?" And then we had to wait a week to see saw what happened next, and we were like,
God.
"No."
I'm cringe. I love My Hero Academia.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. If that means you're cringe, I'm definitely cringe.
As I'm like crying, like I text her, I'm like, you fucking lied to me. I hate you.
I never actually like finished watching Naruto. I just I finished reading it.
I love that it's on your list and it's
Well, to me it counts.
Whenever like I talk to other ReZero friends, they're like, "Oh, I was a bigger fan of season 1." And I was like, am I the outlier?
No, man.
Yeah.
No, man. Like, what makes me laugh is when people ask who my favorite girl in season 1 of ReZero was, I would say Patricia, half jokingly, because I was like, you know, she's
Yeah.
the girl who let Subaru ride her before they barely even knew each other.
Yeah.
But in season 2, by the end of season 2, she clearly is the best girl.
I actually, watching Pokemon as a little kid, figured out I could do a Pikachu and an Ash Ketchum impression, and that made me be like, I wonder if I can do that as a living. And then I got older, and I was like, no, I can't do that as a living. And then I did on camera for like 8 years, and then was like,
Mhm.
damn, I actually can do voice acting as a living, and here we are.
Yeah.
So
like kind of like your dream series that you want to be a part of maybe one day.
Man, so I did put this on like a podcast I did a year back,
Mhm.
but the number one thing that I would say in my mind would be Blue Lock. And
Okay.
in terms of currently, it would be Blue Lock
Yeah.
and whatnot, because it's definitely the most reachable
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
terms of stuff and whatnot, since Crunchy usually or has dubbed Blue Lock and whatnot.
So to have a female character that I didn't have to do anything to sound like her, and it just is like, it was not 1-to-1, because what I always say is like, I can't beat anybody up. I'm not a fighter. I can't even hurt a freaking fly. Like I'm not strong yet, but I do like to go to the gym. But that's really like the only way that we really differ. It's like almost everything else is so similar, and like especially the one thing that I found that is like explicitly a line in the show, which I'm like, oh my god, yes. Misuzu says something like Tomo comes off as like aggressive, and people think that she's like scary, but she's just excited and she's trying to be friendly. She just has like such an aggressive she has aggressive mannerisms, and I'm like, yes, exactly.
Me,
exactly. Because some people like think I'm mad because like I'll get so excited about something, and I'm like, but
So that's something that that kind of drew me in and like brought me back in, because at that time I had undiagnosed anxiety. So my life was a hot mess.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
going through like a really, really awful time. So
Mhm.
like, and like a lot of that was tied to anxiety. So I
Yeah.
felt like, I'm like, okay, I feel seen by this show.
Mhm.
So that was another one that just kind of like brought me back in.
That manhwa is so beautiful.
That smile haunts me to this day.
Yeah.
That toothy smile of the statue. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I have goosebumps right now, like straight up.
Yeah.
We did a parody of A Whole New World with Merrick and Bakura.
Absolutely.
And Merrick was singing, and we didn't practice the any choreography except the literally minutes before in the green room.
Why not? We only live once. If we get happiness from those things, I mean,
Yeah.
it comes and goes, but those memories, those little how do you call them, serotonin waves
Yeah.
that you get from it, you will never forget it. You will never forget when you opened that box and you got that figurine out of it.
I mean, I definitely love the happy-go-lucky times,
Yeah,
where no one was dying.
Yeah, season 1 was so great.
Yeah.
I'm a Dio Brando simp too, which is horrible. Because like the scene that Dio got me in, the scene that Dio got me in is the worst too, because it was honestly his commitment to being a psychopath. Like when he threw Jonathan's dog into that furnace, I was immediately like, that's my man. I was like, that's the man for me.